again, and whether it is for the first time or a return visit to my channel, welcome. I do appreciate likes and subscriptions and comments, and I try to reply to your questions as quickly as I can, even though I seem to be unable to maintain the hoped for production schedule for my channel. Speaking of which, I will be returning to that This Old Laptop series. I have video recorded, I just have to finish the editing process. Haven't been able to carve out the time in order to do that because of my work. It'll be on that Dell that I had shown you in the last couple of videos. It will be coming. Today, as you can expect from the video title, I'm working on something different, an update for my main recording setup. Here you see me in my workshop. As the pandemic has dragged on and my video production for my employment took up all my attention, I did updates in there with green screen and lighting, and some of that I have actually used for some of my channel videos. I also went from a dual monitor setup, side by side, to a quad monitor setup, 2/2. But the way I'd set it up was not totally satisfactory. The top monitors were my original dual monitors on a single stand, and I placed that on an elevated shelf behind the two new monitors and the lower monitors, and that set them back behind the new monitors roughly a foot, or about 30 centimeters. As you can imagine, that was less than an ideal situation. Well, today I have a solution. It's one that I ordered. Originally, I ordered two dual monitor stands, vertical mounts, 1/1 on each stand. What I ended up with was a quad monitor stand, and so today I will unbox and set it up. It's a product from Inland, and this video is not sponsored. I have no sponsors. I paid for the stand out of my own pocket, and I have used Inland products before, and I have no reason to expect to be disappointed with this one. So, let's see. So what I'm doing here is the unboxing and sorting of parts. And you'll see some guys take these instruction flyers and just toss them over their shoulder. I don't do that. Even if they are very clear on how to do this without the instructions, I like to hang on to them. Sometimes it'll answer a question or two. In this case, it did. It is a very easy setup. I was able to identify all the parts and figure out what they were without any instruction from the instruction sheet, but come to the end, there was something that I didn't really expect. Sorting the parts out there, I just lifted an arm out. The previous parts were the base. That's a plate for mounting to the monitor. And just continuing the process. More plates. Hardware. There's the hardware list. It's always good to check off all your hardware against the list. And there was nothing else in the box that wasn't obvious. That's a cover plate for the base. You may or may not want to use it. I always like to use a little muffin tin like this for the sorting of my parts. You've probably seen me do it before in other videos. One package was very clearly marked, different items in each section of the envelope, washers, and then two different types of screws. The other envelope, there were a number of different kinds of things in it, including that rubber pad, semicircular you see there, some knobs, and 4 different kinds of screws. That little horseshoe-shaped piece of neoprene is another anti-mar pad for the bottom of the base. If you get all the screws in it, you'll be installing that. Clear space on your workbench so you have a spot to work. You have the main base plus 2 wings, total of 6 screws holding it all together. They're Allen screws, and get all of them started before you tighten any of them down. It's not perhaps extremely crucial in this case, but it's just a good habit to get into. That way you won't end up fighting yourself because you tighten something down too soon. I use the wrench to get it started because I just have clumsy fingers, and it made it easier. If you're careful, you can do it without damaging something, but be careful. It's always best to do it by hand rather than putting a tool on it first. And then once it's started, then you can put a tool on it. Do the same with both wings. I went ahead and I checked everything on the bottom to see how everything lined up before I finished it up. But this was just very well made, and there are some tolerances there so that you won't really have any problem. And as I said, it's heavy. It will do the job. So flip it over and look at the alignment of everything, and you can see there's a little bit of tolerance. But as I said, those screws, as you tighten them in, they center into that countersunk recess for them, and it ends up there's really only one place each of those wings can go. The screws are the correct length too, so they don't come out the bottom and mar your desk or whatever else you're setting it on. So after you've got those three pieces put together, then you mount the tube to it, the main part of the stand. And not only are there the three holes for attaching it to the base, there's also that center hole. And that's so this pole can be a little bit more universal and be used with a C-clamp type mount or a grommet mount. And I bought the version of it with the stand. Once again, these are Allen screws. Use the Allen wrench to tighten them up. And once again, get them all started before you tighten them. You'll notice in the diagram over there, there's a oval-shaped hole just above the base in the pole. That oval-shaped hole in the pole should go on the back side. They intended it for cable management. I'm not using it that way. Once the pole is assembled to the base, you're then ready to slide the arms down onto the pole. Now that nipple identifies which side is up. That nipple that I just showed you identifies which side is up, and that way the monitor plate can slip over it and then have a nut attached to hold it in place. You will probably need to loosen the Allen screw that determines your height adjustment on that pole. It comes cinched down a little bit, and so loosen it up a little bit to make it easier to slide on. There is a plastic insert inside that steel sleeve that both allows more secure grip to the pole and keeps it from marring the pole. This Allen screw has a larger diameter and a larger Allen wrench to adjust it, and so you can put a little bit more torque on it. But the clips that you see on the diagram, they're showing them mounting from the top and the channel in them pointing down. I find it a little bit better if you mount it from the bottom with the channel pointing up. That way gravity is working with you. So then do the same thing with the next arm. And you don't have to put the clips on at this time. You can wait until you get the stand set in place and you're doing your cable management. Put them on at that time. It's a sturdy plastic. It clips onto the arm very well, and I have no fear of gravity pulling it off the arm. But the opening for the cables, for cable management, is such that gravity can pull the cable out of the channel if that channel is pointing down. So just a hint that I found is mount those cable mounting clips the other direction. Once you have it approximately where you want it, set your elevation and tighten that screw a little bit. Also make sure your arms are parallel to the base. Once you have that assembly done, then you're ready to start working on the plates on the monitors. And the first thing you need to do, if you have a monitor on a stand, is get that stand that came with the monitor off of it. In this case, there's a round plate that's held on by a screw on the bottom. Take that off, and then you're ready to remove that cover plate, which just snaps off, and then there are 4 screws holding that arm to the monitor. Phillips screwdriver. I have a nice Stanley screwdriver there with changeable tips, and a holder in the handle for holding other tips. Those locations I just pointed out are where you'll be removing some rubber plugs, and that's where the VESA mount attaches to the monitor. Once those 4 screws are removed, you can set that arm aside and the base aside and put it away for safekeeping in case you ever want to attach it to the monitor again. And then I just snap that cover plate back on so that I know where it is. So those rubber inserts can be pulled out now, and it's real easy to do on this one. And then when you're mounting that plate, make sure you put that flat tab with the hole in it toward the up orientation of the monitor. If you have it in landscape, that's the top of the monitor. If you have it in portrait, it'll be one of the sides. But make sure that that flat plate, the hole in the center of it, is up. And otherwise, it's a square plate, and the holes are, they orient properly with what is available in the monitor. So real easy to do. I'm using a screw plus a washer, and I'm pointing out there that it has the other size available, 75 by 75 instead of 100 by 100. For this monitor, it's 100 by 100. And once that's done, rinse and repeat for the rest of the monitors. In my case, I'm going to be removing some monitors from my old stand to use them on the new stand. And of course, can't see anything there, but you see the planar stand. And I'll show you the process that I use here. With a planar stand, it is solid arms, not articulating. And so you don't have quite as much adjustment with them. Otherwise, it's a very good stand, very heavy base again, single piece base in this case. Excellent dual monitor stand in my opinion. So that is the cable management on this base, right there. And nice strong wings on those bolts for clamping it to the center post. And that silver ring you see there, you can actually set at a location below those arms so that the arms do not slide down over time. Now the plates that you see here on this monitor, I had added in order to be able to mount a light above my monitor, a face light. And it's a jerry-rigged situation, but it worked, did the job. So there it is. That put aside and put back with the stand so that you can use it for any repurposing you may wish to do. And then I just reused the screws that I had in this monitor originally, only now with the new mounting plate. Once again, make sure you have that flat tab with the hole in the middle of it. Make sure it's toward the top of the monitor. Sorry about the mouse cursor there. As I said, it's rinse and repeat. I'm not going to show you the other two. This is an illustration of what you do not want to do. I have the mounting plate setting upside down. I'm just going to have to redo it once I notice it. What I would recommend is once you've got the assembly done, as I've shown, take it to your desk or wherever it is you're going to set it and set it in place. That means obviously having that spot clear. But then once it's in place, individually take each monitor and mount them onto those arms. I would suggest that you think while you're doing it and mount a monitor on one side and then on the other side of the arm. And that way you don't overbalance the stand one direction or the other. They're showing it being a two-person job. I didn't find it necessary to have a second person. It could be helpful in order to slide the plate on the monitor over the mounting plate on the arm. The monitor plate has channels in each side to slide over the plate on the arm, and then that tab on the top slides over a nipple on that same plate. I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. Once you have all four monitors in place, you can do your final height adjustment at the pole, sliding it up or down as you need to. And after that, that is when I would attach the cable management clips. The hole in the pole is designed for cable management. I didn't like it for that purpose. I'm not using it for that purpose. There are cover plates for the arms in each of 2 locations on each arm, so that's a total of 8 locations. And it's cosmetic, really, but if your monitors are in a place where it's never going to be seen, up to you is whether or not you use them. You'll notice there's a 2-part grommet for the top of the pole. That grommet will help protect your cables that you run down through the pole from chafing on the metal of the pole. But if you're not using the pole for cable management, then they become irrelevant. I went ahead and installed them anyway. As I indicated, the cable management clips that they use, they show the wires being slipped up through the bottom of them. But to me, that's counterintuitive. You have gravity working against you that way. So I strongly recommend mounting those clips the other direction. The clips are a sturdy plastic and have quite strength enough to hold that arm and not be dragged off by gravity, while gravity will help you by holding the cables down into the channels of those cable management clips. Cable manage the way that works best for your setup. You might have them running through your cable management clips and coming off of one end rather than out the back and out the middle. Just depends on your setup. The arms fully articulate there is a danger, and that is if you push both monitors fully back, you'll overbalance it and it'll fall over backwards. You have the same danger if you pull them all the way to the front. But if you're smart about how you're positioning it, then that won't be a problem. They do include the warning, though, in the instruction sheet saying don't do that. Don't do that, either fully forward or fully back. And this diagram shows the various directions that you can move the monitors. You have rotation side to side, so you can have the monitors practically face each other. They also have, as I mentioned, in that lower right-hand corner, you see the diagram of how it works. There's a cap that goes on to each of those nipples on the arms, and then it becomes a fine-tuning of your elevation of your monitors. Lots of adjustment after a month of using them. I am very satisfied with this. It is a very substantial base. It is very easy to put together. It's a one-person job as far as I'm concerned. It's aesthetically pleasing. Inland did a very good job with the engineering and the building of it. And they deliver a product that's very easy for the consumer to use, and the consumer should be very satisfied with it. So this is a 2 thumbs up on it. Okay, so this is what my setup looked like before, with the 2 monitors behind the other 2. And so not only are they a little bit further away, they're a little bit smaller than the front monitors in this one. I have reversed that in the after setup, which looks like this. Now, I'm not a good photographer, so it looks a little bit weird with that trapezoidal look on the monitor, but when I'm looking at them, I'm looking straight at them. So the upper monitors are pointing slightly down, and as I said, I'm looking straight at them. So they're also angled slightly in toward each other. And now the smaller monitors are on the bottom, and that shows up here. But what I have done since this picture was taken is I have moved the the smaller monitors, bottom monitors, away from each other just a little bit, and I've placed my microphone right there, which is where the cover for that base would have been. And so for me, having the cover out of the way is a good thing. Final overview. It is well designed, quality materials, substantial, easy to assemble. It's a one-man job. You almost don't need the instruction sheet. The only cons that I see are 2. One is the plastic that's involved in the packaging. It seems to be unavoidable. I don't know what to do about it unless they were to go to the biodegradable plastics. This is the 04 plastic film. I don't know what to do with it here because our recycling center doesn't accept it. Doesn't accept any plastic film, plastic bags, anything like that. The other con, at least it would be a strong con for some people, is that it is made in China. Good luck finding something made in the U.S. As far as I'm concerned, it is a good product, and if you need this kind of setup, it is a product that I could recommend. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So there you have it. I'm Geezer Geek, and I'll be back with another video. I hope you will see me then. Stay curious, stay safe. See you around.